Howdy folks, today I'm going to do a video on my top 5 user knives. As for the fixed blades I use and carry the most, I was going to do a top 5 user knives and just have it combined with fixed blades and folding knives, and I really just couldn't choose. Like, I'm out in the woods or by the river or up the mountain every day for a few hours at least, and I'm always got a few knives on me, and I just really couldn't pick because I use them all. So I thought it'd be a little easier to whittle it down by doing my top 5 user fixed blades, and then I'm going to do a video on my top 5 user folding knives I carry. Little change of scenery. We don't usually go this way until it gets a little colder out. I like to call this Copperhead Alley. Don't want my dog getting bit. I have a bunch of videos on most of the ones that I have in my collection. We'll start off with the biggest and baddest first. This is a Jeff White Bowie knife. And I did all the leather work for each of these knives as well. Let's get this popped open. So this guy here, I think it's 13 inches long. It's just, it's kind of like a big knife or a small machete. And this is great if I'm out blazing a trail somewhere. Just being able to get on through. I get in some tight, thick spots. Get caught up in a patch of some thick rhododendron or something. I hate having to kill plants and things, but sometimes to get where you need to go, you got to do what you got to do. Jeff White Bowie, 1095 high carbon steel, convex grind. So I got walnut and I got curly maple burl, brass pins. It's about an 1/8 inch blade stock. It originally was all curly maple burl, but first time I had it out, I started messing around batoning to test it out, and a big chunk popped off the front. So instead of just ripping the whole scales off, I cut her down here a little bit, and I put some black walnut up top there. And I like it. I like it the way it is. I kind of like it more than I did when it was all curly maple burl. But that's my Jeff White Bowie knife. That's the biggest actual knife in my collection. You could substitute this for a small machete. I still carry a tomahawk or a hatchet out with me, or a small forest axe. I wouldn't substitute this for an axe. But it's a good handy big knife to throw in the pack in case you got to do some more heavy duty work. This is my Jeff White small Kephart knife, which I got a blank on the internet for it. I have the large Kephart as well. That's the one you mostly see online. But man, when I saw this, I couldn't help but buy the blade blank. I did all the tooling and carving on the leather sheath I made for it. Pretty heavy duty. All the funky stitching. What we got here, another 1095 blade. You can still see some of the hammer marks from when he hand forged the knife. This one is also 1/8 inch blade stock. I like how it has that little finger guard there. You can kind of choke up there, but I mean mostly you want to stay behind it. But I think the blade is about 4.25, 1/8 inch thick, 1095 high carbon steel. Got brass pins. That was supposed to be a lanyard hole, but I just pinned it out, put another pin in there. And we've got some, these scales are cherry wood. I did myself. So that is my second knife, small Kephart. Alright, next one, large Kephart. This has desert ironwood scales. I hand dyed the leather. I built the leather sheath myself. Did all the dyeing, tooling, or no tooling on this one, but pretty heavy duty sheath, 8-9 ounce leather. Got it welted, double saddle stitched all the way through. I did some modifications to this Kephart knife. I have a video on it. I took just a little bit of the steel out from the tip here. It was more of like your typical Kephart blade tip, kind of like I don't know if you call that a spear point or what, but it was just, I don't know, I like the knife alright, but I ended up deciding to mess with it and change it, and I really like it now. I kind of kept the scales thin on it. It just feels real old school to me. You can see some of the hammer marks up here. If I can get it focused. It left some of them on there. Convex grind, 1/8 inch blade stock, 1095, brass pins, full tang. This is I beat this knife up pretty good, and it's held up great. Awesome, awesome user. This comes out of me a whole lot. Now y'all have seen this because I just did 2 videos on it. I've been carrying it a lot, seeing if I like it, and this is becoming one of my favorite knives in my collection for the fixed blades. I actually ended up making a different leather sheath for it than the one y'all saw in the last video. I don't know, like, this just feels a little more traditional to me, this sheath, and heavy duty. I got her stitched up good, got it welted, took great care in it. Let's get to the knife. This guy is the Curve Trade knife, also 1095 high carbon steel. No hammer marks on this one, but it is handmade by Jeff White. I got the blank and I built the knife, as with the other 3 you've seen. This one I did curly maple handles, all hand sanded. I'll start off with a flap disc on an angle grinder to get like a little bit of a shape to it, and then I end up doing the rest hand sand. I also kind of used a torch to darken these scales just a little bit before I put my mixture of boiled linseed oil with pine tar on them to treat the wooden scales. Brass pins, 1/8 inch blade stock. This sucker is probably, I believe it's 10.5 inches overall with a 6 inch blade. Nice big belly up here, almost like a Kukri. I fucked up last time, pardon my language. Last time I was making a video, I couldn't get it right. But a Kukri. Kind of like a Kukri. But it's not a Kukri. If it dropped down a little more down in here, it'd be a little more, and maybe swayed down this way a little bit. But I got a little bit of a lanyard on here. I don't put them on a lot unless it has a purpose, but I made that the sheath to where this blade sits very deep in the sheath so I wouldn't lose it. So that is what that little bit of lanyard is there for, to help me pull it out of that deep sheath. That is the Curve Trade knife. And last but not least, I pretty much always carry this in my bag, my backpack, whatever I got with me as my backup knife. I did the leather work for this also. I have the original knife sheath for it, but I didn't want to have that out, beating it and screwing it up. So I made this one, did all the tooling and stamping in it, my own designs. This is double saddle stitched. And we've got the Schrade Old Timer Woodsman. Delrin handles. This is a, I forget, that's not brass. I forget what the type of steel is for the guard, but 1095 high carbon. Little beefy little knife. Good for skinning, messing around out in the woods. It is the Old Timer Woodsman. Made in the USA, Schrade 165. And this is an old one, probably 40, 50 years old. It's just a little piece of history here before they sold out to China. But yep, that's my 5th and final fixed blade of my 5 fixed blades I carry the most at when I'm running around out in the mountain. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Here we'll get a one last look at all of them. So that is my 5 user fixed blades I carry the most when I'm running around out in the mountain. Got your Jeff White buoy, Jeff White small cap part, Jeff White large cap part I modified. Got the USA made Schrade Old Timer Woodsman, and you got Jeff White curved trade knife. All 1095 high carbon, all at least an 1/8 inch thick blade stock. And these are the ones I use the most out there. Give me thumbs up, thumbs down. If you give me a thumbs down, I'd really enjoy it if you maybe left a little comment down there as to why you think I did such a bad job to get a thumbs down. That way I can fix things if you're not just being a troll. Appreciate y'all watching. Take her easy.